Hi, everyone. So the new format, which is podcast, and most of my friends was saying, Dariia, you have to make podcasts more often because I haven't been doing that for pretty much 3 or 4 years. So here we go together with Kyrgyzstan, together with Gizbristan. I have this amazing opportunity hosting today Avigail, venture capital, women in STEM, and more. So my name is Dariia Vasylieva. I am founder and president of RaiseTalks, where founders get funded and investors find their talents. So Abigail, hi, thank you so much for joining. I know that the schedule is pretty tight. Yesterday myself, I was in Kazakhstan. Now I'm Kyrgyzstan, this amazing country. So share everything about this country. Share everything about yourself. So how that come that, your life happened in venture capital?
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. It's a great pleasure. So my name is Avigail. I am from Kyrgyzstan. I am a co-founder of Turkic American Angel Network. We're an angel syndicate. We invest, we say Turkic capital, we invest globally. So it's been quite a journey. I was a head of large trade association in Kyrgyzstan. So what we did, we were helping startup ecosystem, starting from lobbying the laws which would benefit tech communities so that they grow and they scale and they expand to other countries, basically. So my work was spanning between lobbying the laws and bringing international accelerators, holding trainings for startups and companies.
Wow, this is incredible. So how far this game went that time and what kind of global accelerators were already present here? And did it really work for Kyrgyz market, or do you think that more Institute of Development should appear here?
Yeah, absolutely. So historically, Kyrgyzstan is the furthest country from the ocean, like in the world, right? Like some countries are landlocked. We're like triple landlocked. So we don't have an access to the sea or ocean, and internet became our ocean. So how it started is a lot of people, they didn't believe in themselves. They were saying, okay, Kyrgyz people only can do physical job. And when Aziz Bakirov, the head of High Technology Park, when he was saying, no, we actually can become good at tech, people didn't believe. But 10 years later, we have about 100 million of pure expert of ICT services, and 30% is we export to the US. So what happened is when you export to the US, you have to work on your project management, product delivery, quality of writing code. So that really helped us to have like really good engineers. But that being said, a lot of the market is outsourcing still. ICT outsourcing and startups, there are not enough number of startups for a lot of reasons. And answering to your question, there are not many global startup accelerators here, but we did have some short-term trainings, and they went really well.
That's interesting. I believe that, do you think that accelerators as the format is like still the one that helps startup ecosystem, or the game really changed with having right now different tools of growing your startup? So do you think that it's kind of already outdated, or there should be more different formats that will help startups to grow?
Yeah, great question. I think what's important is that not if it's an accelerator where you call it whatever you want, it's the mentors, right? So a lot of times I think even though they're like big names, big accelerators, sometimes people who are teaching you how to build $1 billion company have never built $1 billion company, right? So the organization we brought to Kyrgyzstan, it was Chris Berry, who actually built 9 companies. He had 3 exits, and one of the exit was $1.2 billion, right? So when you get mentors like that, I think it's worthwhile because we obviously know that like when you go from 1 million ARR to 100 million and from 100 million to 1 billion, like mindset has to be different and mentors have to be different.
That's so true. Like I myself went to accelerator as I believe that, I believe that you can meet the right people. So that was very funny when I was testing my speech and my pitch every week differently, like for different audiences. I want to see the feedback. And like half of the mentors, the one that are working for unicorns, they were like 4 or 5s. and other mentors was like, oh, like this and here and that and what, and not always was the messaging clear. So like thinking big and like is possible only when you work in unicorn or you have that big vision and understanding. And how do you think?
So I'm going to take a step back
Mhm.
to answer that question. So if we think about the role of the unicorn for the country, it's big. I would say it's fundamental. I would say in some ways it's the only way, right? So for example, if you talk about Skype and Estonia, after Skype, it was like completely different story. Now Estonia has more unicorns per capita than San Francisco, than Bay Area, right? I think they have eight unicorns. And this is thanks to Unicorn Skype, right? Because the early employees, they go ahead and fund their own companies, and then around like 20 early employees, then they fund their new companies, and they become unicorns. So I believe in not only having a big vision, but actually learning how to build a billion-dollar company and being close to that story and just seeing that it is possible. I think why Bay Area is a magical place in some ways is because you see that, okay, maybe there was this one person and maybe he or she was like worse than me in some ways and better than me in some ways, in other ways. But then you also see like you were on the same level, but now they built billion-dollar company. So that does something to your brain. It rewires it, and you start believing that it's possible. And I think when you are building a billion-dollar company, you have to believe, you have to be delusional. And yeah, I would say what you suggested is that plays a big role. Yeah.
So here, I think local ecosystem matters, right? So that local government companies support that startup, so to even happen the first pilot, the first like environment where they can grow and show the first metrics before they go global, right? So do you think that the local ecosystem and environment is supportive, or what should be changed, or like what kind of steps Kyrgyz market should do so to get there and have that blossoming environment for the startup ecosystem?
Thank you. So one interesting fact about Kyrgyzstan is that Kyrgyzstan's economy is very dependent on SMEs. Our people are very entrepreneurial. And since we were nomads, we are really good at languages. So people here, they speak at least 2 or 3 languages. And I believe they are very entrepreneurial and they need an example. So our dream is to have to create this precedent, because we know that if Kyrgyz woman or man makes it and build such a company, I think a lot of entrepreneurs would start building their own companies. So yeah, we do need support from the government. We are currently in the working group. Accelerate Prosperity, Daniel, Indira, they are doing Julius are doing amazing job in promoting that we will have such a law, because currently we don't have, right? So
So can you deep dive here, like
Sure.
what exactly should be changed,
Yeah.
and what is the must, and what could change that? So what kind of support is needed?
Right. So I would start with the law, right? We do need legislation, because there's Accelerate Prosperity. They're launching a fund and they will start investing. So we really need this law. Secondly, I would say it would be great if the government would be supporting startup ecosystem. So, for example, in Kazakhstan and Uzbekistan, both they have fund of funds to support the emerging fund managers. And then overall, if they would be supportive of some different programs, visibility, bringing in some mentors from Silicon Valley, and overall just supporting the vision. I do have to say that current president, he has really good intentions on developing the country. We see great results and great changes. Obviously, pros and cons in some ways, but there's an intent from the government. But I do think that we had this talk with ADB, Asian Development Bank, on why it is important for the country to have fund of funds. But I think more dialogues need to happen.
That's interesting. So do you think that there is like, if we could like have, if we were Tinkerbells, so Do you think that external professionals who already did that from neighborhood countries should come, show the example? Is there any opportunity for others to come with ready solution and get the win and make this happen? Or should we grow inside the experts that are ready, like yourself, that is ready to join the ecosystem? Or what are the limitations?
Yeah, amazing question. So, basically, I think we need to do both. So with ADB, when we had this conversation, they were saying like in other countries, what they do is they create a school for emerging GPs, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that there are professional managers who will be investing in startups then, because a lot of times what happens is that when the government directly invests, a lot of times they don't have expertise. Second, it's a quite risky asset, and not a lot of people know how to do it. And the third is it just takes a lot of time and expertise, right? So and sometimes people are afraid to manage like government's money.
I'm just curious. I saw in the statistics that there were 3 million in deals here in Kyrgyzstan in venture capital, and the total size of startup ecosystem capitalization is approximately 250 million. For many people, they would say, with having 120 billion in deals in 2025 for early stage ventures, 250 is nothing. It's like, and they are not even interested in looking that. But myself, I know from my my heritage is I was a 10 years investment banker and trader and asset manager. So I know what is managing small props, small portfolios and growing them big. So like, when you have the right investment strategy, when you build up, all the tools needed for making this investment decision done, you will have the biggest portfolio as people know how to go through the process, how to manage the things, and you are just that person who making that happen. And I believe that's the best portfolio management that you can do. But going back to this 3 million in closed deals, do you know what kind of startups have raised capital last year? And I believe with having such like high technology park and other developing techno parks in the region, there will be more startups. So what is the perspective of the startups for this year, for the next year, and what are the industries that you see Kyrgyz startups might have win part of the game?
Yeah. So just wanted to add on what you said earlier. One of the reasons why the government actually wanted to create a fund, 2 million fund, which is pretty nice for our local ecosystem because we don't have much startups. But they were lacking like a person who would actually lead this small fund. And then there's another problem where we see that when government starts to give away grants, then you have some people like, I don't know,
grant eaters.
Yes.
Let's say like how it is.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah. So people who get really good at pitching, but once they get the funds, they just don't continue doing anything, right? And that's deadly, like really bad for the ecosystem, because we are doing so much work into promoting venture culture in here. We want to promote venture capital, angel investing as a new asset class. It's a new asset class for us. And then if there are such cases or scammers or grant eaters, it's like really bad because everybody knows everyone, and there's already so much hesitation. And when that happens, it's really, really sad. So like, from one side, there's like dilemma, right? Like government needs to support and it's really good. But from another side, I think what's a like really good model is when they co-invest. So for example, they could co-invest with us or with other international GPs. So the government gives a small part and then, but they give it as a co-investment. This is, I think, a good way versus just giving away grants.
100%. So, but they don't have right now the infrastructure ready to do this co-investment, right?
Correct. They do. I think they are finalizing setting up the 2 million fund, but I don't think they have found a person who will lead this fund yet.
Okay, cool. So going back to the industries and the perspective on the growth of the startup ecosystem. So, I believe we found here industry that we like and where traditional business can become, tech, and can have all the benefits having tech inside them. So the growth capacity is very significant. So which industries do you think have the skin in the game on ongoing venture capital model?
To be honest with you, it's not popular yet. But what's happening, the startups that had been acquired by local companies is always fintech. Like it's large financial institutions who are currently buying some startups so that they can enhance their ecosystem. So, for example, there was delivery. Um, from delivery side, and another was a marketplace for selling cars, marketplace for selling houses. So there are some players in the market who want to be like a one-stop shop, like a super app. So for that, they are now acquiring startups.
Okay. So we have a bit M&A market here. That's great. At the same time, lots of startups would dream to have a serious friend near them, right? That can help the startup growing. And anyway, the local infrastructure ecosystem requires being digital, right? So what other industries then, fintech, do you think have perspective here in the region, in terms of let's talk healthcare, education, let's say tourism, aviation, or anything that you feel would be the next thing for Kyrgyz market?
Yeah, so sewing industry, like textile industry, is big in Kyrgyzstan. So if you talk about traditional businesses, but in terms of the industries, I think we have energy crisis. I think the whole world has an energy crisis. So everything connected to energy. So like um, hydropower, alternative energy. Um, a lot of construction, real estate, definitely, because the demography is growing, and we're also having some people who are like moving to Kyrgyzstan because we have an amazing nature. Actually, I was traveling and living in South America, and then came back, and then I was literally like almost crying of how beautiful Kyrgyzstan is, because even as locals, we sometimes forget how beautiful it is. So tourism connected to that, I think it's ecotourism, and now we see some international. Actually, it's quite interesting. Lately, we have been receiving some investments from other countries, from large corporations from other countries, which hasn't been a case before. And they are mostly investing in real estate, energy, and tourism as well.
I believe that Kyrgyzstan is amazing emerging market. And I haven't been covering Kyrgyzstan before, I will be very honest with you. So emerging markets are with me for more than 20 years. So so 10 years I dedicated to trading and asset management.
Wow.
In the last 8 years, I'm obsessed with tech. So I started from private equity, larger companies where I was doing more, let's say, management office side, like strategic role and structuring. And let's be honest, it's like a pocket investment banker, like evaluating the opportunity and suggesting or giving the feedback on should this investment happen or not. But in 2021, I raised my first fund, and in 2022, I made the buyout to big venture builder, and I just started being obsessed with the product thing, part of the game. So within this 8 years, I supported more than 150 businesses from idea to round Bs already. In 2024, I made the investment readiness acceleration program for women in TAG. So we had 200 startups, 15 the cohort, and 9 got funded after the program. And I built that lean and the program how to raise the capital. So let's speak about that transparency in the investment process, so what would be important to disclose for Kyrgyz companies to be investable, so international investors can look at them?
Yeah, so the problem that I see, the first problem is obviously, I think it's international problem is ego, right? So sometimes some people want to be like a king of their small area. And then once they start traveling, they understand, okay, actually, I'm quite small, so I have to grow. So like to become a leader in Kyrgyzstan, since it's like less competitive, there are a lot of people who become like leaders of their industries. And then I see that but they decide to build a product and they want to scale it. And they bring their entrepreneur mentality to becoming a startup founder, and there has to be a transition. And in some ways, you have to be humble and you have to be very ready to receive feedback. Doesn't mean you have to listen to everything what investor says. Actually, it's the opposite. A lot of VCs, they oftentimes miss great deals. They sometimes give like really wrong advices, right? But at the same time, just being um, able to receive feedback and being humble, that's like really important. But there are like actually different things that we could talk about in here is that I think people don't often understand on like how to choose investors, what terms, why do you need investors. A lot of people, like for example, if we were to invest, we ask first thing we care about is a founder. We do like a background check. It's really important founder's reputation, especially if this founder is not from here. We actually have partners in the geography we invest. So we actually do really like rigorous background check. So it's important if it's a good person, if we have good values. It's good if they have like really strong character. It doesn't mean agreeable, but a good person and a like impeccable reputation. Secondly, is if they are able to receive feedback. Third, they have to be investable, and sometimes it's nothing personal, right? Like venture capitalists, and sometimes angel investors. They are expecting X returns. And since it's very high risk, sometimes if the company is going to bring like 2x or 4x, like in private equity, it's not worth of the risk. So sometimes it's not investable by mandate. And I think what's really important is to, for us, it's really hard to say no. And I think it's important for a startup to be okay and like behave and still like follow up and keep in touch after a no. So oftentimes I see that.
So meaning regular reporting, right? So they update the investor like with what's happening, and is that what you're saying?
Yeah, I think like investors are also like human beings. So like
Let's say hi.
yeah, so like treat them as human beings, care about them because they care about you too. So that means that you follow up or you not sometimes it's not just about reports just not disappearing, because sometimes no is a yes for later, or sometimes we just want to take our time and just observe, like how they talk to other people, how they talk to businesses, and how are they as a person.
So let's talk about being investable. Of course, like Silicon Valley type of thing that, the kind of investment preparation is not much important, because like if you have the right idea or you can pitch it, you might have got the capital right now here in the table without really going deep to the due diligence. So, but how far you are with your due diligence other than just checking the background check of the founder and having not, by the way, founder solution fit is important for you or not?
Yeah, so as I said before, we haven't invested locally yet. We are planning to. We are actually looking into two interesting startups. So one thing as a like no-go for us is any ties to sanctions or like Russia and sanctioned people, right? And it's so easy to find because our markets are they do a lot of trade with Russia, China, and other countries. So this criteria already like washes out 90% of the companies.
Yeah.
But so it has to be scalable. It has to be very strict about this, that it has to make the world a better place. At Turkic American Angel Network, we want to invest. We want to, let's say, vote for the future that we want for our kids. So if they're doing a good thing, if they're a good person, and if they're empowering their team. So another big thing that we care about is the founders, how their compatibility. As you know, this is the biggest startup killer. So, for example, we invested in a company, and we invested because they've worked together for 10 years, which is a big green flag for us. And they built a company before. So that was one of the biggest things. So every time when founder comes and they're new, like they have never worked together, there's always like question marks.
Okay, let's play the investability in a game. So I believe that that's very interesting because I'm just challenging myself right now. At the same time, challenging yourself makes you better. And ourselves, we just closed the pre-seed round, and this the hardest part is done. And of course, the hardest part it's happening every single round still. So changing your, as I said, usually I say that I'm investor by nature, but entrepreneur by heart. And I was always into entrepreneurship, like since I was 12. And the difference is that I was always, I have 4 degrees in finance. So I am like a finance girl. But when I found out for myself, discovered the tech market, I'm like, yay, that's exactly what can save the lifetime. That's exactly that can distribute good things to even broader community. So in 2021, I created Founders to Funders community. Right now we are 1,500 people, but both founders and investors. As founders with exits, they became investors, they became LPs. Some of them became super angels, some of them opened their syndicates. And that was the place where the exchange was happening. So anyway, going back to investability, let's play the game. You are a syndicate. I'm a startup. Let's imagine that we are here just having the first meeting. And believe me, guys, each time when I'm wearing the founder's hat, that's incredibly hard. First time when I was pitching on Web Summit, I'm almost blacked out. I had my 2 minutes and I was super ready. But that feeling, that vibe, that's energy, like it's mind-blowing. Anyway, imagine that I'm planning a roadshow in SF, so I have to prepare. So let's make this game happen. Sure. So let's imagine, guys, I know that all of you are asking what should be the pitch you should say. And of course, such amazing accelerators founder is there showing what is a nice 1-minute elevator pitch. At the same time, is that the winning pitch at all? So it's a big question, but I'd love to right now make that happen. And as well, let's just imagine that we met at the conference or we met in any room, and this meeting happened. So hi, my name is Dariia. I am founder of RaiseTalks. I created RaiseTalks last year and put 100% bet on that because I believe that early stage ventures matter. And I created RaiseTalks as AI native fundraising workspace for early stage startups to run venture capital deals, prepare for the round, and be investable in one place. And from the other side, so investors could find the startups, do the scoring fast, and manage their deals in one place. So both, let's say, investment process in one place. So we are a team of 5, and my co-founder was my first portfolio company, as I am in the investment industry for 21 years. I'm an ex-investment banker with $3 billion in closed deals, both for public and private markets. And that was always my biggest passion, to increase the volume of the startups that are getting funded, to see entrepreneurs focus on building than just searching for the funding. So why early stage? As I believe that is the most untapped market. But from the other side, from 400 billion in venture capital deals, it's 30%, which is $120 billion. And having as my North Star, 1 billion in closed deals for RaiseTalks platform in the next 6 to 9 months, I believe that I can bring that impact where on growing size of the startups appearing on the market, investors could find their proper startup. They can support a bigger size of the startup, and the most important thing, be a transparent funds themselves.
Yeah, Dariia, thank you so much for reaching out. And I have to say, you are very impressive. I'm very impressed by your energy and the startup. So my first question would be, how did you come up with this idea, and why are you doing this?
Yeah, so the key reason is that when I created Investment Readiness Acceleration Program, I came to understanding that most of startups don't know how to build a data room. They don't know what does it mean to be investment ready and how to make it. So that was the first prototype that was part of the idea. But when every single startup asking me, Dariia, can you make me an introduction? And I'm the worst personal assistant to other startups. I believe the startups should own their fundraising. And so to do that, they have to have the rails how to make that. So they don't have to dilute their capital on paying the commissions, paying the equity to raise the capital. So they need direct rails. Mm-hmm. And having my network, I can create that direct rails, but I have to see myself that they're investable. That's why I created RaiseTalks score. So if you are not getting the right score, you will not be matched with investors.
Mm-hmm. Let me rephrase this. I think you start talking about the problem, and I think the problem exists. Why do you personally care about this specific problem?
That's a very good question. So one of the biggest reasons, as my mentor and advisor on the board, David Orban, incredible person, said, Dariia, you don't look like a person that needs capital. You speak like a millionaire. You do your own investments. I name myself the biggest investor on the smallest tickets. So really, you cannot imagine how many startups and projects I have supported. Yeah. So the key is that people are scared to raise capital. They like myself, I hated doing that, and that's why I'm building right now this role model with myself. I'm showing others it's nothing to be scared about. You have to take your vulnerabilities to the public, kill them, and go further as a better version of yourself. So for me, what does it mean is having the right resources in the right time with the right people at the right size of equity that you dilute. So what does it mean is going to the venture capital, meaning that you're not giving away 20% of your business, 50% of your business for your private equity partner that even will not add you value and that is limiting your growth from the day one. So venture capital is having the proper investment strategy in one place where you're taking people that are 100% match, to yourself, to your mandate. I can bring you to the next level. And that's not possible with the right people, without right team that are selling you, are with you, pitching you. And that can happen only when you as a founder have the right backbone and the right backers around you.
Interesting. And who are your competitors?
So I usually say that investability and fundraising tools and VC tools have their before that was, as you remember, just A4s, business plans, and Excel spreadsheets. And then the evolution went to having the search, search engines such as Crunchbase, then AngelList, etc. So you could search, you could do something, and then there was the next version, which is already kind of tools like Visible, Founder Suite. We are the fourth version of that. So we are AI native. What does it mean? It's not just we are using AI tools or we are the wrapper of the Claude Code or other LLMs. So my co-founder is brilliant data scientist, and we are doing ML and NLP 8 years already. And myself, I've been collecting the data on the venture capital all these 7 years, both working with the startups, sourcing the startups. So I accumulated lots of data, and I had to find my matchmaker, who I can trust my data. So we are enterprise grade solution. And what does it mean? So of course, we're benefiting all these incredible LLMs that are happening to the market. And some of them are getting worse, as we know. Some of them are in the next iteration getting better. And I know, like, I've just, that's to my CPO, high five, because like he's suffering, because each iteration of the model is changing the way you are vibe coding, right? So anyway, so I found my match, many years ago, and finally I came to understanding, like, here's my team, here's the guy who I can trust my data. So we started, and we have like RagRag, we have on-premise LLMs that we have been fine-tuning, plus we are infusing all existing LLMs, meaning that on the tech stack we are quite equipped. And we have pivoted historically natural language to SQL with number of industries, with number of implications. So right now, I already, within these 5 months, created the model graph, the model data, that helps me right now to put on top the features that are needed very fast. So we have our killer features, but are they killer? Is it a killer then when you upload the data room and you can have the feedback and the scoring based on the data room, or based on the data on just the deck, you have already pre-fulfilled the data room. And with the data room pre-fulfill, you see the gaps. And then with our AI advisor, you can fulfill your gaps. But of course, people think that when you just use the AI, you can get the answers. Believe me, the same as when you're doing your PhD, there will be a AI check, right? Or confirmation, the trust layer on that you are showing the right metrics, such as like Google Analytics, amplitude, and all other things that are coming.
Could you talk about the team? You have one co-founder?
Yes, I have one co-founder, Dennis. So my team are in England, and we are Ukrainians both, and we know each other many years ago, and I was not living already in Ukraine at the time, because in 2012 I was headhunted to Moscow and lived for 10 years in Moscow, and then after Moscow I relocated to Cyprus and UAE, and I was making my deep go-to-market there, and I met all the dreams people dream about UAE happen. But anyway, Dennis is incredible. So he used to work for a big tech. And back to 2017, he started building his technology company. And right now we are co-founders.
How long you've been working together with Dennis?
So with his initial theses, I was supporting him. So together that time, I called him when I started doing venture capital and said, hey, dude, I decided everything. You're my first portfolio company. He's like, okay. That was back to 2018. And I had, believe me, less much context on the tech that time, pretty much anything than innovation scope for corporations. That is completely different, comparing just to building the startup from the scratch. And he was the guy who really helped me, on knowing, because we started doing different global acceleration programs together. So I was his, let's say, analytical brain, and he was that tech. So that was my first, let's say, investment packaging, kind of, and I was preparing the product decks, the page decks, the financial model, going through the acceleration program, because he hated that. And I was like, oh, I'm so interested. And I was obsessed going through this acceleration programs together with him, because that's how I learned myself. So we went through 500 startups and many other big acceleration programs. And that was very, very helpful. And that was a great beginning. And then that time I figured out most of the startups are having terrible pitch decks. They're having all the gaps. And I was just curious, why? I mean, you have the program, you had all the mentors, 3 months program, why you still cannot build the pitch deck? Because the storytelling is the hardest part. The how to disclose, what will be that killer word that can hook. And that's this marketing search. And being a marketer when you're on the ground, not a marketer at all. And I had to learn myself all the marketing thing. So to be able to grow exponentially with our current metrics, so we're organically 1 million in views and 70,000 sessions and 700 active users without any marketing, only organic. Mm-hmm. So even to how can be there, you just have to do so much efforts. So Dennis, going back to my incredible team, we are a team of 5. So all tech team, and I'm only myself on business. So reverting to you, if the founder is not replying to you, believe me, he or she definitely is working. I mean, if they are really going there to their dream. And when you see the progress, you will see that obviously from just going and testing the platform every single month when they're releasing, you will see that progress. You can imagine how much, especially when the products are complex. And here as well, that's very interesting to hear your feedback. Do you think that complexity can be itself a killer feature when the complexity is bringing this easiness? Because you can have complex product, but with solving very simple one thing: close the venture capital deal. Make the deal happen. But you have backhand, you have the process. And of course, there are plenty of matchmaking platforms. Okay, going back to team. So we are a team of 5. We have 4 tech, and we have as well 5 backers. And as well, we are supported by Microsoft, NVIDIA program, AWS, and all the infrastructure. Greetings, and thank you so much for your trust. And as well, we have 2 advisors, one from San Francisco and one from Abu Dhabi. And we have 3 incredible angels with different expertise. One is a serial entrepreneur. Another one is B2B SaaS, extreme girl from New Zealand. So we are friends as well for many years. And another girl is ex-head of treasury and that high net worth, let's say closed investment market girl that have joined us recently. And I decided to close Pre-Seed short as I just want to focus on building. That's exactly what I wish everyone instead. Okay, but at the same time, you can say that, yeah, you have to go and raise every single day because you have to be obsessed with raising because it's a long game. And so to capitalize, you have to do that constantly. But that's why I need such leaders as you that can contribute me helping co-leading the process. So I am investable, I'm ready, but I need to co-lead this communication with other investors. That's what I need from you.
Okay. Yeah. So obviously, it's a very interesting product, and we do have a lot of pains that we would want to solve, and sounds like an interesting solution. So could you talk about traction?
Yeah, so we're 5 months old, and this February we launched small extra product, which is RaiseTalks TV. We added AI production for founder storytelling, just as well for startups that are incredible but can't talk, have their films about themselves, the founder stories. So that's why Founders Original. So we're like, let's say, not early already for going and selling. That's why we activated slowly our outbound, and we have 7% by the way conversion on the startups and 11% conversion on investors. And if you ask me, of course, I'm more focused on investors as our target group, as that's a product for
11% of conversion of investors from
our small campaigns that we started doing to test,
our platforms.
We have different channels. So we work with LinkedIn, we have with direct outreach, and this is our 2 main channels, if you ask me. I'm working hard on doing other channels such as X and Insta, but that's not the place where investors usually spend their time. And that's kind of more, let's say, for media visibility or up-to-date news place. But we are working directly. So we have mail campaigns and direct. We didn't even start it, but directly I usually speak to my inner circle and the LinkedIn.
What's the business model? What are the prices, and what's the cost of user acquisition, customer acquisition?
Yeah. So at the moment, we're doing very well on that. So we have, first of all, 300,000 rows on the data on both sides. So right now, this summer, I dedicate to onboard people and grow our customers.
Both startups and
investors.
Yes.
Investors onboarding their startups, but they're all with as we're agnostic and different stages to make this vehicle working We have to have broader industries, and some people might say it's a hallucination, but it's not. Because you will see that 5 investors might have different mandates, but one of their theses are matched to each other. And these investors don't know that they can co-invest in the same startup. They can do this deal flow sharing, or if there is just investment opportunity for now, not even the decision that we want to invest in that, but we can have kind of consensus. Like, do we want to look at that, or are you open to like, let's discuss something about that startup? Anyway. Going back to traction. So we're 5 months old and we have 1 million organic views. We have 70,000 sessions. We have 700 active users and 10 paying customers. So we haven't been onboarding investors, as I wanted to complete some features that I wanted them to see that they're ready. So yeah.
How much what's the pricing policy?
So we are subscription-based, no commission, zero equity, both for startups and investors. So right now I'm in active pilots for the investors, so they can see the beauty of the product. So for the startups, pre-seed is freemium forever. But of course, if they want to use AI features, they have to pay subscription for that. And it's right now $99, and we have the monthly, and we have the perk program. And believe me, if startup will come to me and say, Dariia, I like the product, can I use it? I will grant them that, and I will grant them as much as possible, as we're very backed and secured on the AI side. So for me, that will be my investment, this startup to succeed. We have the freemium for some time for all of them. We have, I believe, 7 days trial, and then they convert, and we have the paywalls for features that cost us money. So our unit economics is positive. And for the investors as well, it's subscription. We have monthly and annual subscription. So at the moment, our MRR is growing, but I wasn't very much focusing on the sales, as that was the time of the product. And I'm that obsessed pixel girl that is like going for the product excellence. That's why the latest hiring was the chief designer, and the guy who I've been working with for 5 years, and now finally our UX is fixing. And I'm like, I have more energy and comfort, as believe me that even simple UX, but with the designer. And that was one of the biggest differentiation, because I could put things together in the way they are beautiful, but I cannot design myself in the way that professional product designer can make it. So anyway, yeah.
I have a question about geography and your strategy on going to market.
That's an incredible question. So imagine since our launch, right now we are in 99 countries. Our main geos we are Delaware C Corp startup, and our main countries that are looking at us is US, UK, Holland, Germany, and UAE. So top 5. And I'm shocked that round A startups calling me from like latest was from Los Angeles, like as well, sharing something, or who are you, or like I'm getting interest, and I'm like, oh, it's the right time. And of course, as being one person in business, I just right now I'm in this observation and rethinking process. What should I do right now as my priority? Not in the backlog, that is clear for us already, and we build out the roadmap, but on the business side, where I will focus right now. So I understand that we'll be focusing on the pilots and growing our investors on the platform. That's 100%. From the other side, within 43 beta testers from RaiseTalks directly that came to the platform and had their data room 97% fulfilled, out of more than 240 startups at the beginning was, that was very high conversion. One got funded. So, and how would that work? If I see that startup investable, for me, that costs zero to make a push. That's why we created the feature investor relations push. If you're investable, you're going to get your investor. And I don't need equity for that.
Do you have a priority market?
Yes. We at the moment, I made a priority to top 10 startup ecosystems. At the same time, I decided that I really want to pay it forward to emerging markets. So right now, I want to contribute to Central and Eastern European countries and Central Asian countries. Just like we'll see how that will happen, in what way I can do that. But I just want to give the tool without asking for anything, because the only one thing we need to succeed is a tool.
Right. Dariia, could you please tell me about the moment where someone gave you a critique, and how did you respond to it? Which was the when they criticized you for a reason, objective criticism.
Every critic makes me and shape me. So I believe, of course, of being.
Could you talk about specific situation that you could recall?
Yes. Okay. Sure. I don't want to refer because that would be obvious, and this person will definitely look that on LinkedIn or something and will say okay, girl, I hate you. But no, I don't mind hate. I will give you an example. The worst critics I hate is when people are not in industry giving the advice, or they have no track record and giving pushing you without having the reasoning, or giving there should be a reasoning, right? Going back to the answer, so there should be a reasoning on the critics, right? And I had this situation. I will give you an example.
Sure.
So imagine that I'm getting the feedback that you have nothing to do with this. How you will do this? Your startup doesn't worth even a penny, etc. Something was a very arrogant kind of speech. And then I go to Crunchbase to search does he have any funds or investments at all? Then I made an investor search on him. I'm zero investments, zero funds, zero anything. And my reaction, of course, believe me, as a trader, I had zero tolerance and zero soft skills back to 2014. So I built up my soft skills so not to eat as a shark other dudes. So, I'm what? And my reaction was just ignoring.
Could you talk about the critique which was objective?
Okay, but objective critics is completely different. First of all, I love it, and I believe that objective critics is the best because, last objective critics, very simple. One great entrepreneur with a billion users, Exit, gave me the critics. He said, "Girl, right now it looks complex." And he remembered that I was pitching him that I will do something very simple, which is having the, let's say, type form questioning on the startups and the pre-scoring on the type form, let's say this way. So we named it Ask Form, Ask Room from RaiseTalks. And I literally forgotten about that. I was so much obsessed on building the data model that I've forgotten that feature that I was pitching him back to 5 months ago. And that meeting turned that I just sit to reread my roadmap, rethink what I have missed, because I was so much focused on building other things which are more complex that I've forgotten that I obviously need to accomplish and finalize the investor flow. I was working on the startup flow, and I just literally wasn't thinking about the investor flow at all. So that was so much helpful, and that's why right now we have a big release this June, and that was super great. Objective critics.
Thank you. My last question is, what is your exit strategy?
So we have two exit strategies. One strategy is to get the capitalization of Carta. And I believe by that time, my my role in such big company will be much less than that, and that's a track for the next, let's say, 10 years to get there. or 5 years. But if you ask me, have Michael Bloomberg exited from Bloomberg? I don't think so. So he's still a shareholder, but the company went public. That's why the exit goes is to go on the public.
IPO?
Going to the public exit.
Okay.
So that's very not simple. And by the way, most of the private equity guys, they are hating. They're saying like, if I could change my life, I would never go public because I'm like undressed every day. But at the same time, it depends. So when you create something that something like that, I mean, I don't mind. I know the benefits and of being a public company. From the other side, it's I know who are my target exit partners that have $1 trillion funds, and they just need a tool for them. So most of them, of course, most of the biggest funds already implementing AI. They have their small teams or not small teams that are doing that. At the same time, I believe if the match will happen, that will be the brilliance where we can extend product to to different funds with different investment thesis, and that will be already different product. And obviously it's okay of being a different product.
Every question, there was like logic behind the question, and I think the biggest thing that startups get like super excited about the product, and I think it's very important to take a step back and think what extraordinary value I can bring to the customer.
Mm-hmm.
And then in normal conversation, I would be more interrupting you because I want to go deeper, and startups to get too excited to give too much context, right? So talking about the complexity of the problem, it's a really, really good question that you asked. Normally, we as investors prefer very niche, like this is our mandate. We want, because we are not a big fund, there are sometimes cases where they become they have a potential to become so big they can dominate the market, and then they can become an ecosystem. So they have like complex one stop one shop, right? But majority of the startups will fail at it. So we would prefer with our mandate that there's a startup is solving a specific niche problem. For example, there's a very interesting product that we invested. It's in agriculture, and they're solving the problem for specific crops. So they are
Wow.
really, really experts in this. And we believe in this kind of like when there's a domain expertise and they are solving specific thing, and they have their business model very clear, right? So another thing, it's very important to about the exit strategy. What we want to do is we want to ideally have specific names. For example, that way we know that, okay, they have done their research, that potentially one, they're going IPO. So IPO, as investors, we want to see that you have done your research and you're like, okay, there's a specific fund or corporation that I'm solving this for, or a bank, and we can, and in potentially 5-10 years can get acquired by them, or maybe 15 years, it's fine. So that way we know that they know what they're doing. They're looking for M&A or IPO, or I don't know, as angel investors, maybe there will be like one bigger player entering and we will be selling on secondary market, right? So having seeing what's the next step is very important. Having a big vision, but being super clear about like the exit strategy and the vision, the end goal, but at the same time, sharp focus on the next step.
Yeah, 100%. Thank you so much. Like, you reminded me one more thing, girl. Like, and I've heard that from all my friends, because myself, I'm a judge of the startup competition historically, and each time they say, girl, like, make it sharp. But the storytelling again is a problem, because like there's so much to share, right? But thank you so much. I'll take that as a highlight notice, that 3 words, and then like deep dive. Are you interested? Go to app.raisetalks.com/raisetalks. That's our public Slack where you can request our data room, as data room has 3 levels of the access. There is a public data that we share, etc. Anyway, thank you so much. So that was very, very energizing. I really appreciate it. So let's go back to Kyrgyzstan. And so if you had potential co-investors here that are interested in investing in the local market, are you open to do the co-investment and having, let's say, extended syndicate investment here in the region, without having right now, for instance, the funds that will be investing, because you understand that Kyrgyzstan as well is kind of in the sanction list and it's very complicated, but we can do direct investments as a syndicate with the proper jurisdictions here in the startups.
Yeah, Dariia, first of all, I'm really glad to meet you and that you came and hopefully will be helping us to get more international investors. So our strategy at Turkic American Angel Network is that we are active investors. So for example, when our network go in, we open doors. We help with, if we know, right? Like we know Central Asia, we are well connected in Central Asia. And we also are quite helpful with next rounds. So, for example, we were making introductions and one institutional big investor joined the round of our portfolio company, which was a big win because it is a product for banks. And then institution which came in, they give revenue money to the banks globally.
Mm-hmm.
So that was a huge win because it's one thing if startup reaches out to you, you are a bank, and it's a different story when the institution which gives you revenue money,
Mm-hmm.
Turnover money, they tell you, hey, pay attention, we invested in the startup. So we do open doors. We do sometimes happen to have the domain expertise. And the third one, we actively want the startup to succeed and we are more on the active side. But when I say active, it doesn't mean that we will intervene. We only help when they reach out to us saying, hey, we need this intro or we need this. I think that's very important. Regarding your question, we are waiting for the moment when we will support our own local startups. Unfortunately, as I said before, there are some things that are stopping us. And just the number of startups is like really hard to choose because there's like a small number of startups. Another thing is that we are promoting and popularizing venture culture in Kyrgyzstan, and we want them to have. So we are like less risky in some ways.
You gave me an idea. You know what I will do? I know that these 240 startups, we will make the startup program, very small one, not the program, like the offer, let's say. We will score all startups existing here with RaiseTalks.
Yeah.
And then like we will offer them a hard commitment that best out of existing startups will get investments. And I think and that will be already impact. I mean, even if this investment, we will see how that goes. But unless we start investing, nothing will happen, right?
Here's the thing. What we are building now is we want our investors to go with us to the world.
Mm-hmm.
And we are basically a bridge between local entrepreneurs with capital. We're bridging them with international investors.
Mm-hmm.
We want them to have this mindset shift because a lot of our investors, they're not sophisticated. If you are dealing with non-sophisticated investor, it might kill your startup, right? Because they are asking for 50% of the equity of the company, that kind of stuff, you know? So we want to teach them fundamentals. We want them to hang out with international experienced investors. Once they have this shift, they can start investing globally and start taking risks.
Mm-hmm.
So that's our strategy. That's why we are taking less risks with the local startups. But actually, we are looking into 2 local startups. There are some things that we would want them to do differently. Some things that I mentioned earlier.
Mm-hmm.
If they continue making progress and if they are open to receive feedback, I think it's possible we will go in.
Abigail, that was incredible. Abigail from Kyrgyzstan, covering global markets and making that bridge happen between emerging markets and the global markets. First of all, I'm very grateful for you finding the time and making this conversation happen. The key message is that building relationship is the first step towards having dreams happen, having businesses happen, having the deals happen. So that's the first step. I usually say we need 3 I usually like when you meet people, I say we need 3 pictures to make a co-investment. But you have to have one validation, that it's trustable person that you can do business with. I want to see more openness, and this openness can be done through the validation and the trust layer. So I want to thank you so much for this time, this incredible conversation. So guys, we are looking forward to see Kyrgyzstan thrive and happy to be part of the ecosystem now, and looking forward to our future amazing deals that we'll do together. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Your expertise, your network, everything is super welcome and very needed in our markets. And we appreciate you. Thank you.
Thank you.